Yeah, and that doesn't follow along partisan lines. Like I think you could, like, going back to the delegating everything to the team, like it's so common that you just say, well, this is my team, you guys handle it. Hopefully it'll work out. But I think the real thing is we got to pull back and fix that representation problem where the people that we have delegated to manage the power and the authority, that they actually do listen to us and they actually consider us rather than whatever their donors say. And I think it all goes back to Paris, France, and I'm now hopelessly in love with. But like the revolution there, as you walk through like the Louvre Museum and you just see the ostentation and the power and the prestige that sits in that like one palace. We didn't get a chance to go to Versailles, and I heard that's even more beautiful and ornate. But like you can see where these people were just so out of touch with the common man. And when you've got a new change in terms of communication, new ideas that come in, if you've got your monarchy and then you've got people underneath you that don't feel represented, and then they hear of this amazing experiment on the other side of the ocean that's actually been kind of successful where they're able to throw off the bondage, you might be thinking to yourselves as the people like, well, we should throw off our own bondage. And then you just because it doesn't have the same, you may think it's the same, but it's definitely not the same. And I'm going to think more about this, like comparing the revolutions between the United States and France, and where they're the same or they're different. But it's very much different in France because the people weren't self-governed. Like in the United States, we had 13 self-governing colonies that really just wanted representation in parliament. But in France, you've got a monarchy, and you kind of have there's like the equivalent of the Lords and the equivalent of lower house, and you've got this I think it's called like the tennis court parliament or something. I'm trying to like dig back in my European history from high school, but like there was kind of air quotes representation, but it really wasn't that. And so when you just throw everything off, that's where it gets bloody, and I think it devolves into something that perhaps people didn't think it was going to go. So,
So,
representative beware. You got to listen to your people, otherwise
well,
they'll come protest.
I think the big difference between the American Revolution and the French Revolution is exactly what you just hit on. The 13 different colonies that were already governing themselves. Okay. What they had different than the French is the right people. They had the right leaders, because in order to have a like really good self-governing society, you have to have a balance of representation, but also a balance of structural leaders across the nation to pull everything together. Without that, what you'll end up with is just a rich aristocracy fighting a monarch, which, I mean, and that rich aristocracy is almost as out of touch with the people as the monarch. And so what you get
Right.
is bloodshed, where in our revolution, people like John Adams were like regular people. Okay. They like were suffering just like everybody else. And so they're much closer to the problem. They're closer to what's going on. And I think that makes a big difference in your ability to govern. And, I think that's part of the issue we have today, right? It's just, we have the wrong people leading us. We have people that want to be in power, but in reality, like, who should be in power? Like our professors, like the people like not running the colleges, but there are like political theory professors all across, history professors. Like these are the people realistically that are probably most prepared to govern and understand, this type of stuff. But we are putting, I mean, you see celebrities running for Congress, you see them winning the White House, but like, that's because
Did
they
you
have the
see
money.
there's this guy in California who's running for Schiff's old seat, and I
Boy
don't know
Meets
the name.
World, man.
Yeah, the Boy Meets Boy. Yeah,
It's Ben Savage, right?
I don't know. I
I
just
can't
I just
remember.
saw the headline, and
His brother
I
was
was I was
Wonder
so
Years.
shocked that I cut his name out of my mind, I guess.
Oh my God. I loved Boy Meets World growing up. Like that was one of my favorite shows. I saw that he was running. I haven't looked up his platform, but please uncap the house.